welcome back to the Talkoffame podcast. We are super excited for this conversation today, and it's such an important one. Also, I'm still trying to learn how to use this topic in my life, so I'm looking forward to learning more about how to handle it. So we're welcoming Nikeba Dawkins to the podcast today, and she's a speaker, published author, passionate advocate for balance, self-discovery, and joyful living. Her ability to resonate with others has swiftly positioned her as a guiding light for many women, drawing from her personal experiences and the shared challenges of women globally. She understands the pursuit of balance in an overwhelming world. Her book, From Overwhelmed to Balance, offers practical advice, insight strategies, and empowering stories to help women take charge of their destinies. Her work is much needed in today's world. I'm super excited to have this conversation with her today. Thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to chat with us. I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you, Kylie. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here as well. I love your podcast and I love the work that you're doing. It's really, really great.
Thank you so much. So, like with all the work that you're doing, with having a balance in everyday lives, like what, in your personal opinion, like what are the guidelines to really to find clarity and balance in our busy lives? Because of course it's very hard to find balance and clarity to find things and relax. So what are some guidelines for that?
That's a great question. And it's so funny because I found that in my personal experience, at one point I had everything I wanted. I had everything I dreamed of, I desired, but I still was not enjoying it. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't loving my life despite the fact that I had everything. And that's because it was out of balance. It wasn't in alignment with, my values and my goals, or I wasn't looking at it that way. So I would say the guidelines are, the first thing is to kind of know your personality and know innately who you are as a person and the things that make you thrive, the things that you don't like. And that way you don't do things in your life that are not in alignment with who you are. Because if you do, then you're going to find that there's some kind of friction and you're not really jiving with that. So I would say one of the main thing is to know, just do some self exploration. Like, who are you as a person? Are you introverted, extroverted? Like, what do you like? What do you don't like? Things like that. And also having certain mindset adjustments and having like a really agile mindset where you're able to like bounce back from things and be resilient, because life is not like, balance is not something you're going to achieve. You're never going to like, I have balance and I'm good, right? Like I'm never going to get there and that's it. It's something that you work on time and time again, day by day, minute by minute, because life is like, it's ebb and flow. So one minute you're in charge of everything and the next minute you're not. Like one minute you're completely motivated, the next minute you're not, like you're doubtful. So it's a constant like work that you have to do to keep feeling like you're in control and you have this kind of quote unquote balance that you have. So I would say knowing who you are, having an agile mindset where you're able to bounce back when things start to go bad or go sideways or not going as planned, and just like loving yourself and loving the journey, enjoying the journey of life, and not being too hard on ourselves with not achieving the things that we want in life. And that way you're able to just kind of love it, like just love the life that you have. And I feel like that's like the balance, is just how to want something and get it, but in that middle ground, just enjoy the process.
Yes,
If
exactly.
that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like you said it like amazingly, because like when like there's no one will achieve balances ever. Like with me as 17 years old, like I've had so many issues balancing so many things with scheduling and stuff. And I know basically everyone that basically has like a little bit of struggle balancing their life and their work or whatever they're trying to balance. Is every balance is very different in everybody's life. So it's like when having that balance, like you really see like kind of like I kind of like a emotional roller coaster output because like I can't find any other word, but it's like you will see if you are not balancing correctly, you will see
Mhm.
like kind of like a different change in like your mental health and your way your mind works. Because even though you think you have everything, like you
Right.
have the best life that you can imagine, like everything, and
Mhm.
even some people if they're like that, they like things can come up and be like I might have the most perfect life. I might have a mansion, I have
Yeah.
$1 million, but it's
Mhm.
like even if you like have like work balancing, you will still like be like, why am I mad at this job? Even though
Right.
like there's so many things that even if you have the most amazing life, there's still
True.
like sadness and anger and
Right.
balance issues to
Right.
really
Right.
how that job or whether you're balancing works,
Right.
especially.
True. That's so true.
But like, how can we kind of find balance in our everyday lives?
I would say one of the biggest things I would say is to have a plan, right? Because if you know that this is what it is, you know that life's like this, right? It's never going to be a perfectly straight line. Like we go in knowing that. So
Yeah.
I always think the best way is to have a plan for when that happens, right? So I call it like, what's in your toolbox, right? Like you're going to build a house, like you need all the tools because without the tools, you can't do the work. So
Mm-hmm.
I love to say, what is your plan for when this happens, right? What is your plan for when you hit a slump? What are you going to do? Like actually do, not just you're thinking great right now, but what are you going to do when you don't feel like doing it? And so I love to have people that I call and I know I could moan and groan to, and they're going to lift me up. Or I like to have things that I could read to motivate me. I like to read my Bible, but whatever works for you, whatever is going to make you shift that mindset, right? Like, what are those things? If it's taking a walk, if it's just getting out of your space and just clearing your head, if it's taking a bath, if it's listening to music. So, what are the things that are in alignment with who you are that make you feel good so that you can now maybe think clearly to get out of that slump? Because when we're in it, we can't really see clearly. Like we can't think clearly, right? We can't take ourselves out of it. We kind of need a little bit of help. So I like to say, to achieve balance or somewhat of a balance, it's planning for the worst case scenario. Like, what is your plan? And then when that time comes, is implementing that plan. Like, okay, or, for us women specifically, I address in my book, it's that we have hormonal differences. Like men don't have that. They have testosterone, easy breezy, good. We
Yeah.
have progesterone, estrogen, all these things going on throughout the month. And they definitely affect like our mood. They affect how we think, our emotions, like we're crying for no reason, we're happy for no reason. So it's like knowing that it's coming, right? There's going to be a time in the month when I'm just completely like moody and just not motivated. And then there's a time when I'm like super productive and just great and life's awesome, right?
Yeah.
So it's, what do I do when that time comes? Like planning for that. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the biggest strategies, is just having a go-to plan. And
Mm-hmm.
it could be something simple. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to cost, but it's just actually being intentional about that, and not be naive to think that because no, I'm great, everything's going to be great. No, we're not. We're human. And it's going to come a time, no matter who you are or what you have or how you feel, there's always going to be a time when you don't feel like that. Your emotions are not steady. So
Mm-hmm.
it's planning for that. That would
Mm-hmm.
be
Like,
my biggest takeaway.
like every single day, like you said, is not perfect. Like it's
Mhm.
like you said, like with hormones and having that type of month. Like at
Yep.
one point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm the happiest person in the world. I could buy mansion even though I don't have money. Like I have the biggest confidence ever. And then next day, I just am so angry that I want to punch a wall. Like every single day changes.
Yeah.
With having being a woman, there's always like you say, there's a difference
Hmm.
and how men and women work, how to balance. Because of course, everyone has a different sort of balance in their lives. Everyone has a
Yeah.
different schedule. Everyone has
Hmm.
a set a different routine, whether it's like going on a walk or going on a run,
Right.
listening to music, taking a bath, or just going for a drive for 5 minutes. Everyone has a different kind of routine to really makes them calm down and really just, unleash angerness. Like for me, it's like whether it's like music or reading a book or even going on a walk. Like sometimes I go on a walk for an hour a day at some points, depending on how my mood I am or how my schedule is, or just depending of course the weather, because it's of course getting cold where I am. But it really all depends on the day. But like how does living in an overwhelming environment world make it kind of difficult to like kind of balance your life?
Honestly, I think it's way more difficult now. I'm going to age myself, but I think it's way more difficult now than when I was younger, only because technology has made it so much easier to be bombarded with information. And so with so much information coming in, it makes it harder to decipher, okay, this is my plan, this is what I'm trying to do. But then over here, you have all this other stuff coming in, like, no, you should do this, but you should do it this way, but you shouldn't do this. And, it's like you get so confused because now it's like everyone has access to tell you anything they want to say.
Yeah.
So no longer do you need to be any kind of expert or have any kind of, credentials to go on social media and say something, right? I could say, do you know that the moon is square? And then no, you're like, okay,
Like,
it's like you
okay.
can say anything.
Yeah.
And so you have to be really careful about the information that you let in and what you believe, and really stand strong on your values and what you're trying to accomplish. So not being distracted, I would say, is a big thing,
Oh,
because
100%.
it's so easy to be overwhelmed. Like, we're already overwhelmed as women with all the things we have to do, but now adding all the other things, all the news, all the things happening, everybody's opinions about something. And if you just open yourself up to receive all of that, you're adding that onto your already like confusing, overwhelming life. So I would say like diffusing all of that. Just being careful about what you watch, what you listen to, what you believe, and staying focused on your goal and what you're trying to accomplish. Stay focused, right? So staying focused, but right now I think technology has made it more difficult to stay focused. So you have to be more diligent to stay focused.
100%.
So it's making that plan and like sticking with it and knowing that, okay, I'm not gonna be susceptible to everything and everyone's opinions around me.
Yeah, I love that because like with everyone, like it is actually so easy to get distracted. Like I'm like the person that literally, if I see something while I'm trying to do something, I'll literally run for it. Like it always,
Mhm.
very difficult. So sometimes to really just stay focused when you're doing something, because I'm the type of person that literally just run and never go back. Like I'll be like, okay, I'm done. But like having this sort of balance, like you said, like having a sort of balance to really just try not to get distracted when you are doing work, to make sure you stay really on that one topic that you're working on, besides doing all of that at the same time. It's really about how much you add on to your life rather than overbooking yourself and really just being so exhausted.
Mhm. Definitely.
Yeah, like what are some like empowering stories that you share in your book, From Overwhelmed to Balance?
Okay. So the biggest story I love to share is one where I had a self-discovery, right? So I went ahead, I did some personality assessments, and just by pure revelation, I figured out like I'm an extrovert, right? So what being an extrovert means that when you wake up in the morning, you have 0 units of energy, right? And with each social interaction, you gain one. So you keep gaining energy by interacting with people. So you love people. You love talking to people. You love being around people, right? I mean, to natural limits. And being an introvert is the opposite. So you may wake up with like 10 units of energy, and then every social interaction is taking one away. So you're feeling drained every time you have a social interaction. And these are real general terms. So I figured out like, okay, I'm an extrovert. I love like talking with people and hanging out. But I have 3 small children. And for some reason, every time I would hang out with them, and they love hanging out with me so much to the point where like they will just want to be with me 24/7 all day long, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, every time like I would hang out with them for a long time, I just started feeling really drained. And I'm just like, oh, I don't I don't feel at my best. And not to say I don't love them, obviously, but it's just, so I realized like, hold on, maybe I'm an extrovert with grown-ups, but I'm an introvert with children. And when I thought of that, I was like, huh, because, you know, you could be both like in different situations where not just one thing. And so when I realized that I am an introvert with my children, so I can only interact with them in like short bursts of time. And then I need to take a minute to rest and then recharge and then go back. So the minute I realized that and I started to do that, I started to enjoy spending so much time with them, because I can't spend time with them for a long, like for the whole day. It's just going to be so draining for me. So I just spend some time with them, like, okay, guys, let's take a break. I need a minute. And then I go do something to recharge myself. And then I come back. So I think that's like one of the greatest tips about knowing who you are and doing things that are in alignment with who you are, because I could have just went on and just forced myself to do this and not enjoying it and not really enjoying spending the time with them. And then that's just going to throw everything out of balance, you know, because then that, if I'm not enjoying that, then it's going to affect my outlook on things. It's going to affect my mood. It's going to affect how I talk to my husband. It's going to affect everything.
Yeah.
So that one small change really shifted everything and made it where I feel like I was more in control of my life.
Like
So I
I
love sharing
am
that story.
the same exact way though. Like I'm like such an introvert and extrovert, but like for example, like I'm just like I love talking to people my age or people on the podcast or talking to adults or something. But once it comes to little kids, I love kids. Even if I hang out with kids for a while, I'm just like I just want to go to bed. Like and also like even if you love spending time with your kids, nephews and nieces, or some form of family, or your friends' kids or something, like you can love hanging out with them for a period of time, but then when you go home or when you're going leaving or you're just hanging out there, like why is hanging out with kids so exhausting? Like now I think like when I was young, how people felt hanging out with me when I was a little kid. So I totally get it now. Like it can really just take so much out of you that you just start to become miserable, and then you affect the people around you, which is a way you need control so you won't make other people in your life miserable based off of why you're feeling miserable.
And I think that's the key, is realizing that, right? Like realizing that that's what's happening. And that way you could make a plan to change that. And my plan was to implement small breaks to make that better.
Exactly.
So that's just a simple little change that just made my whole life so much better.
I love that. And the last thing I have for you before we head off is like, how did you look back on your journey when you were writing your book?
So I wrote my book in record time, like in a short time. And it's so great because the minute I decided, like, okay, I figured this out, right? I figured out how to do my life, do all the things I'm doing, being a mom, being a wife, having businesses, doing my doctorate, doing everything. And now I finally figured out how to do this and still love it, like love all of it, love all my life, doing all the chores, everything, you know? And so I'm like, I want to share this with people. I don't want to just keep this revelation to myself. I want to help other people. So the minute I decided that that's what I want to do, I was so focused on writing this book that I did it in such a short time. And it was just really great to put that out there and having people read it and saying, this is so relatable. Like, I get it. Like, this makes so much sense. And this is how I can, like, it has strategies that you could actually implement in your life and how to make it better. So looking back, I would say it's just a great, it was just a great experience to just stay focused. I did like time blocking to really write it. And that's just a great tool that's in the book too. It's how to accomplish tasks like more efficiently. Time blocking, like setting specific time to do tasks uninterrupted. So that was like a great thing. And the funny thing with writing the book, I have to actually live this out, right? I can't write a book telling people how to have balance and then I turn around and be like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to have balance. My husband's always like, what is in your book? What does your book say? What are you supposed to do? So it's great that I put it in writing, because now it's like I took it out of my head, I put it on paper, and that kind of imprinted it into me. So now it's like, this is real. Like now I know, if when I find myself in a slump, I know what to do, right? I know how to think. I know what mindset shifts to have. I know what habits to form and things like that. So it was just a great experience overall writing it.
Oh, yeah, like definitely being a writer and writing is definitely so much fun. Like I'm a person that loves to read or write, so I'm like, okay, anytime I get to write, I'm literally the happiest kid alive. But it's like when you're writing, like it's like when you write like a book, like it's like, am I actually just stating the facts, or am I actually just stating what I'm doing personally? Because there's a total difference between like the facts and what I actually do in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be both, don't get me wrong, but it's like, I can always write something that also combines with your life as well, not just something you don't do. Then once you finish the book, I'm like, what do I do now? Like, how do I balance my life now? I just wrote the book. Like, what do I do? Like, it's just like total opposite type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
And I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was such a pleasure talking with you. Your work is absolutely amazing and it's so well needed. I learned so much from you today and I appreciate you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode and make sure to subscribe, like, review. And I hope everyone's enjoying the rest of your day. And thank you so much for coming on, listening, and thank you so much for coming on and chatting. I appreciate it.
Bye.